listeners, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Warhammer 40,000 enthusiasts. It is us, Dragon's Greed Gaming, and we are back at the start of a brand new campaign. Oh, yes. But before we get started with that, quick reminder, stop by Facebook and Spreaker, give us a like and a follow. Be sure to check us out on our new Patreon, which has been going on, by the time you hear this, probably for about 2-3 months. We've got some cool things you can check out there if you want to help support the show a little bit, help us grow the channel more, throw a couple coins into the Dragon's Hoard. We've got 4 different tiers of rewards that you can get access to, including some really awesome artwork by our very own Kyle the Redbeard, and monthly polls for future content on the channel, early weekly access to our normal episodes for whatever show is currently going on, and we've even got a monthly Warhammer campaign that we've been doing now for a couple sessions that is turning out pretty awesome, with some familiar and new faces, and some other cool perks too. So check us out on patreon.com/dragonsgreedgaming, and stop by Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Give us a 5-star review. Help us keep building that channel. We've got great things in store for the future here on the channel. So tonight, well, I'm your host. You all know that. But if you're new, welcome to the channel. And thank you for joining us. We have been doing this now for well, by the time you hear this, it will be 2 years, as Dragon's Greed's birthday is in October, and that is when this is going to launch. So happy 2nd year birthday to the channel as we dive into our second full-length campaign, I should say. Our alien stuff is finishing up, but I'm sure there's going to be more of that. But now we are switching gears from the world that was Warhammer Fantasy to the grim darkness of the far future, Warhammer 40,000. We are going to be playing the current Warhammer 40k RPG known as Wrath and Glory in its 2nd edition. And it is also made by the same company that makes the current Warhammer Fantasy RPG, that being Cubicle 7. They got the rights to this after Ulysses Spiel had the 1st edition released, and they've tidied it up, cleaned up the book, and tightened up the rules a little bit. It's more or less the same game if you've played the original, but it's a little bit more well put together. And while there's not as much content as there is for Warhammer, there is some cool stuff coming out here and there. So I will be the GM once again for this campaign. And tonight is going to be our session 0. So it's probably only going to be about an hour or 2 long. Don't expect a full session here. And if you're not interested, that's okay. You might find this interesting. It's mostly going to be us talking, writing up characters, talking a little bit about what the campaign is going to be about, and then I'm going to teach the guys the basics of the system, and we're going to do a test combat to see how it all works here in Foundry. So if you're interested in listening to that and maybe following along at home, if you want to see how the game kind of works and comes together, I'm going to try to hit some of those things tonight. And if not, then jump ahead to episode 1, which has also been released on this same day. So double dose for you there. But without further ado, let's meet the cast for this series. Mostly faces you've seen and heard before. And we'll take it away with, well, at this point, our longest-serving member, Kyle.
Oh, fuck, does that really?
Yeah,
look,
all the originals are dropping like flies.
Haha, my plan the whole time. Hi, it's Kyle Redbeard. I will be playing a Burna Boy in this campaign. Name right now is Grave Scorcher.
All right, love it. And then I guess our second longest serving member then would make you, Eric, our second longest server at this point.
Wow, and I came in kind of late, I feel like. I am Eric, and I'm going to play the Sneaky Commando.
Excellent.
I
Does he?
am.
Do you have a name yet?
I do not. I have not spent enough time thinking of a name. I was looking
That's
for that
okay.
art and kind of trying to get an idea of the character first.
That's all right. No worries. Okay. And then also returning from Gallows Geis, our last member of the crew, my good friend Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I get third place for now longest running member, I guess, as the last person to join Gallows Guys. So I guess that's a good achievement. I'm going to be playing the Pain Boy Peppa.
Amazing.
We will get that fucking sponsorship
We
one
will.
way or another.
We will. That's right. We're coming for you, Dr. Pepper. And last but not least, Matt the Frog, who we'll probably just reference as Matt because he's the only Matt here tonight. He's been on some of our alien stuff, which you hopefully have just gotten done listening to. And he's also helped out a couple times on Gallows Geist. So welcome to a full campaign, Matt. Oh, he's also on our monthly Warhammer game as well. So, but this will be a full campaign that actually happens more than once a month. So welcome to the show, buddy.
Yeah, moving up in the ranks.
That's right.
I'm
You're
excited.
fourth longest now. Fourth longest serving.
Yeah, our plan for this campaign is to play the mech boy, who I have not yet named. I think I'm in the same boat of just like, you know, was looking at art for a bit and feel like need to take in some of the details here on our session 0 and then maybe spend some time on see if there's a 40k orc name generator on the web that I could just hit the random button for until I
I'm
see.
sure there is.
Actually, I
Yeah.
can link the one I used.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Well, folks, if you haven't figured it out yet, we are doing something a little different in Warhammer 40,000. We are going green. We are playing an all-orc campaign. So rather than looking at the Warhammer 40k universe from the eyes of the Imperium, we are going to hop over to one of the most infamous Xenos races, the green-skinned barbaric creatures known as orcs. If you want to learn a little bit more about what Warhammer 40,000 is all about and some of the lingo and terms we're going to use, I recommend you listen to our introduction to Warhammer 40,000 episode. That is going to be going live today as well. In that episode, much like I did with Alien and Warhammer, I talk a little bit about the channel, but mostly I talk about the system, the universe, a little bit of the history of the 40k RPG, because even though it's not been around as long as the Warhammer Fantasy RPG has, it still has quite a bunch of stuff thanks to the line that was put out by Fantasy Flight Games, I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago, give or take. And you could play from many different perspectives in that. So Wrath and Glory switches things up a little bit because it is all self-contained into one rule set. And the idea is that you can use this rule set to play anything. So rather than what Fantasy Flight did, having 5 different product lines that focus on various factions, in this game, you can in theory play any of those games and other stuff as well. Now, the rules have not been expanded enough to encompass as much as the Fantasy Flight stuff did, in my opinion, but there is some excellent fan-made content out there that we are going to be using, and there's plenty of support out there from the community as well. So we are going to be utilizing the abundance of Apocrypha, I believe is what it's called or how it's pronounced, which is a fantastic resource the community has put together that adds tons and tons of extra archetypes, which are like classes in this game, species, weapons, and even includes some stuff for very high level play if you want to play a Adeptus Custode, and some crazy shit like that. It's all there. So, because the Imperium, they've got plenty of representation in this game, as one would expect. Space Marines, Inquisitorial henchmen, and Hive Scum and things of that nature. Mechanicus characters, Sisters of Battle, or Adeptus Sororitas, if you want to be specific. All that's there, but some of the Xenos factions, Eldar and Orcs, they get a little bit of love. So does Chaos, but not as much as the other factions so far. So the community has done a good job of giving us those resources, and we're going to utilize that. Because if you know anything about Orcs, it's that they are all about crazy, insane goofiness, looking for a fight, looking for scrap, and looking for teeth. So this is going to be a big change from Gallows Geist. Although the Warhammer 40k universe is, one might argue, even more dark and grim, hence the moniker, than Warhammer Fantasy, Orcs, they're actually having a pretty good time, all things considered. They love to fight, very similar to Warhammer Orcs, but they do it in even crazier ways because they got access to guns and spaceships and all other sorts of crazy shit. So hopefully we're going to get that across here, but we're going to put a bit of a spin on our orc warband here, as we say, and we'll get to all that in a minute. So we're going to start off making our characters tonight, which I don't expect will take too long. Character creation is quite simple in Wrath and Glory. We're going to talk a little bit about the mechanics, a little bit about what our campaign's going to be about, and then we'll jump into our test combat. So, before I go any further, do any of you gentlemen have any questions about anything?
Nope,
No, sir.
I'm good.
Nope.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, let's, can I play multiple songs here? We'll see how that works. Okay. So, the first thing I'm going to need each of you to do is you're going to open up your character sheet. And what's going to happen here is you're going to add your archetype, which, again, listeners, is like your class. And that is going to start character creation for you. So all you need to do is drag your archetype from your items tab onto your character sheet. And then you're going to get a thing that's going to say begin character creation. And just go ahead and hit yes.
Shit.
Now,
Nope.
character creation is quite simple in Wrath and Glory. The first thing that the group is supposed to do is pick a tier of play. So the tier of your 40k game is going to indicate the power level of your game, and it's going to also indicate which archetypes or which classes you have access to play as. Because not everything is created equal. A Space Marine is tier 3, whereas a lowly Orc Boy is tier 1. We are going to be playing a tier 2 campaign, because we didn't want to do the very basic stuff, but we're not looking for something crazy epic here either. And everybody wanted to play something that was tier 2 or less. I think everybody's tier 2 at this point, so that worked out just fine for us. So when you pick an archetype contains two things. It contains your archetype, which is, again, your class, and then it contains your species. Most of the archetypes are limited to a specific species, either human, orc, Eldar, so on and so forth. So in this game, your tier dictates how much starting experience points you have, and you use those to build and customize your character. Now, you can do completely generic custom character without any archetype. You can choose archetype abilities instead at will or at random. Or if you pick an archetype that gives you specific power and it gives you specific attributes at a certain starting level and specific starting war gear. Or if you're not into that, or you don't want to play something that's in the book, maybe there's something that is not in the book that you want to play, you can just do everything custom as well. But basically, you start with 100 experience points per tier. So since we are tier 2, you guys are going to start with 200 experience. Now, your archetype has an XP cost built into it, and that should already have been deducted from your sheet. You'll see in the top right corner, guys, it'll say XP spent and XP available. So it should say XP available 200 because we're tier 2, and then how much was spent should be equal to whatever the cost of your archetype is. Now, you'll also see to the left is your species. Orcs cost 20 experience to play an orc, because they automatically start with a strength and toughness of 3, and they've got some built-in abilities you can see there. That cost is already put into the archetype cost. So basically, the archetype is a little package that you're buying for X amount of experience. And in this case, it includes all those things that you see there. So it'll have a tier. It may have influence. Some careers don't. Some do. It'll have starting attributes, so they start at a certain level. Most normally they start at 1. Obviously, the higher they go, the better. And then it also have a list of skills and what they start at. Again, higher is better. And then it'll have your ability, which is your archetype ability. Really, that is the only thing that's really unique to an archetype is the archetype ability. Otherwise, most characters are pretty much the same until you start to tinker with them and switch around their war gear, their origin story, and things like that. So, everybody follow me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So you should have all that stuff listed there: attributes, skills, keywords. Keywords are a big thing in Wrath and Glory, very similar to how they are in 8th and 9th edition of the 40k tabletop. Keywords are a way that they organize stuff in the game, and usually when you share keywords with various things, you get bonuses or negatives. So, for example, when you're trying to acquire gear, if you're trying to acquire gear that shares keywords with you, it's easier to get your hands on. You might get bonuses to interact with another character or NPC if they share one or more keywords. So, orcs, for example, start with the orc keyword, and you start with the clan keyword because you're going to pick which clan your orc is from, which we'll get to when we're done here. And then at the very bottom, you've got your war gear, which is the starting stuff that you get because of that archetype. You should be able to left-click on each one of those, and it should pop up, and once we're done here, it'll be added to your character's inventory, so that should all be good to go. Now, the main thing you're going to do here, and really this is if you pick an archetype, there's really only 2 things you have to do. You have to spend your remaining XP to build your character, and then you're going to go through these other things here, your origin, your accomplishment, and your goal, which are little backstory. This game kind of has like a character life generation path, or a life path, as they call it in other RPGs, or an origin path. So you get to pick, or you can roll randomly for some of these things that happen to your character up until this point, and those will give you little stat boosts here and there on your character. And then finally, on the very right-hand side, you have your attributes and your skills. Your attributes, think of those like your characteristics from Warhammer, or your stats from other games. We have strength, toughness, agility, initiative, willpower, intellect, and fellowship. And then we have skills, just like any other RPG. Skills represent actual training or know-how that your character has with a specific thing. As you can see, there's about 15 of them. It's not a huge list. A little bit more than Alien, but not as much as Warhammer, so... And basically, guys, the core mechanic of this game is very similar to Alien. It is a dice pool game of D6s, and you add the attribute plus the skill. You add those 2 numbers together, and that's how many dice you roll. However, unlike in Alien, you generally need more than 1 success, which in this game is referred to as an icon. When you roll your dice, a 4, 5, or a 6 count as icons. Now, I should say 4s and 5s count as an icon. Those give you 1 success. A 6 counts as an exalted icon, which counts as 2 successes. And anytime you roll, you're rolling against a difficulty number, which you'll see in the game abbreviated as DN. Very similar to DCs or difficulty classes in D&D. The DN of the test is the number of successes you must equal or beat to pass. Now, typically a DN of 3 is considered average in this game. If it's a 2 or a 1, it's really simple. And if it, gets up to 5, 7, 9, 12, that's where it gets obviously more crazy. Now, the tier of your game is going to dictate how easy stuff is from the get-go, because obviously the characters have less or more experience based on that. So, that's up to me to decide what the DN of something is. I'll tell you when you guys roll. But to give yourselves an idea, so if you're rolling 4 dice, you're probably, statistically, at least 2 of those is going to be a 4 or higher. So you're going to have, statistically 2 successes, maybe 3 or 4 if you roll 6s. So that's how that all works. We'll get into more details about that when we're done here. But basically, you spend your experience points on 2 things. Leveling up your attributes and your skills, or purchasing talents. Just like in Warhammer, you can purchase talents, but they are not limited to classes per se. There might be prerequisites that you need, but for the most part, you can pick and choose whatever talents that you want. Now, I do not have the talents for Abundance of Apocrypha in here, and there's a ton more that you can choose from. So we're going to stick with just the basic stuff that's in the core book here, because there's still a ton of them to pick. And generally, talents usually cost between about 15 to 30 XP. So you want to save some of your XP so you can buy at least 1 or 2 talents, give your character some other cool abilities, and then you spend the rest on your skills and your attributes. Now, the only other restriction here, there are maximums for your attributes, which are based on your species. You guys can see here it's already dictated that because it knows that you're an orc. So as we can see, orcs can have the highest cap of strength and toughness at 12, but you can see their fellowship is a measly 7, which is one of the lower ones in the game. So believe me, you're not going to get that high at this point with the amount of experience you have, but there are species limits here. Skills, the only limit in this game is a very simple and what I would say intuitive, I hesitate to use that word, but I think it is a little clever. There's a simple rule called the Tree of Knowledge. And very simply, it means you can't just dump all your experience points to make one skill amazing at the detriment of everything else. The way this works in the game is really simple. Whatever number your highest skill is at is the number of skills you have to have at least 1 point in. So, for example, if you have your athletics at 5, you have to have 4 other skills that you've spent experience on, because that would be 4 skills plus the athletics, which would be 5. So you can't just dump everything into one and not put points into everything else. Technically, these should all be at 0. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. On your character sheet here, the reason it's showing your skills already have a number is it's using the attribute that's tied to it. So, for example, the character I have here starts with a strength of 4, so my athletics is showing 4. But right now, none of your skills have any points in them unless it's a skill that's part of your archetype. And when you guys hit the plus or minus, you'll see it'll increase that and it'll deduct the XP accordingly. So you can mess around and kind of play around with that. The other thing you can do if you want to actually see the XP costs is you can go to the... I have something here in Foundry, I believe, where you can see the XP costs as well. At least I thought I did. Well, I'll look for that while you guys get started. So basically, it's up to you to decide how you want to spend your XP and how you want to build your character. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Whatever you think your character should have. If you want to be an orc that's actually good at shooting, you can bump your ballistic skill. If you want to, be obviously good at fighting, you're going to want to increase weapon skill and so on and so forth. So if you guys want to discuss to make sure you have a well-rounded party, or if you don't give a fuck and you just want to go balls to the walls, I'm okay with that too.
So for the Tree of Knowledge rule, that applies not to the bonus from your attribute, but would it also still for your tech, or like in my case as a mech boy, it's tech, but the skill that's given to you by the archetype. So we start like up 3, you have to, before increasing that to 4, spend
Correct.
skills.
You got it. You got it. Yeah, so since your tech is at 3, you have to have 3 skills that have points in them, basically, is the way to think of that. So tech is one of them, because that's already got points in it. So you have to have 2 other skills that have at least 1 point in them. And you only ever need to have 1. So, like, let's say, for example, you had a skill that was at 6. You could pick 5 other skills that just have 1 skill point in them if you want to really min-max like that. I wouldn't recommend it. You probably want your character be a little bit more 2-dimensional than or 3-dimensional than that. But you can do that however you choose.
Would you suggest going with the build setup, like as a base?
What do you mean?
Like Burna Boy starts with 3 strength, 3 toughness, 2 intellect. Would it probably be better to just kind of build off that or start from scratch?
I mean, it's really up to you how you want to build your character. I don't think archetypes force you into a role as much as classes in D&D do, for example. And it's probably a little more open than even the career system in Warhammer. So whatever you think would be cool, or whatever, if you have an idea for your orc, you know, maybe he's a Burna Boy, but he's also interested in medicine, so you've got the Medicae skill, or maybe you hope that one day you're going to be like an orc that bosses other orcs around, so you're going to have leadership or intimidate, like whatever you think it might be. The only thing you guys can't level up is psychic mastery, because none of you are psychers. Psychics in 40k, for listeners who may not know, or for Kyle because he's new to 40k, psychers are basically the wizards of 40k. So they're called psychic powers, and much like magic in Warhammer, well, most magic in Warhammer, psychic powers delve into the realm of chaos, which in 40k is called the warp. You'll see a lot of similarities. We've got the 4 chaos gods, we've got this alternate dimension, the realm of chaos, or the warp, but the warp is intrinsic to how psychic powers work, and it's also how the Imperium can do faster than light travel, which is called warp travel. They actually temporarily go into the warp to jump from system to system and things like that. So it's a terrifying thing, but it's also the only way the Imperium can really exist. So no psychic mastery. But other than that, you guys can pick and choose your skills at will. If you have questions about what a skill does, just ask. They are pretty self-explanatory. What cunning is kind of unique to this game. Cunning is your character's ability to kind of do criminal activities or be able to spot criminal activities. So if you're trying to do something a little on the down low, or something maybe a little bit on the illegal side, that's what cunning would be. Awareness is kind of like perception in Warhammer. Trying to think what else here. And most of these are pretty straightforward.
So, Chris, are like talents something we purchase after this step?
Yes, actually, what I can do, I can probably give you guys access to the talents folder, so you guys can start to see.
So
We would need to save XP for the talents.
Yeah, like I said, talents are between about 15 to 30 XP per talent.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely save enough for at least one. You know, that's where the balance, I think, of the game comes in. Do you want to be rolling lots of dice, or do you want to have some talents that might really change how your character operates? Do you... My cat's going crazy in the background. Do you guys have access to a new folder that says talents? In the items?
I haven't looked yet.
Yeah, let me check. I see items.
Oh, I see. It's a
No.
new overfolder.
Oh, in core rulebook, yes.
Okay. So you can left click on any of those and it'll tell you exactly what it does. And if you go to the stats tab on a talent, it'll tell you how much it costs. But yeah, you can't add that to your character sheet until you do this part. Now, once you're done with your stats on this page, guys, when you get to your main page of your character sheet, you can still change your stats and it'll deduct it accordingly. So don't think this is the be-all, end-all page. The other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pick or roll your origin, your accomplishment, and your goal. Now, your origin is obviously that. It's a bit of like a little origin story for your character. Your accomplishment is what your character is kind of trying to do. Your accomplishment is something that your character has actually done in their past, and your goal is kind of your character's ambition for what they're up to. Now, it's pretty simple here. It's not as open-ended as ambitions in Warhammer. There's only 6 of them. If you want to randomly roll them, you can. Once you pick these, you'll see at the very bottom there's a little drop down that says selected bonus. Each of these things will give you an option to add to your character, and you get to pick one of the 3 that you choose, and they'll give your character some sort of bonus. Maybe they'll add to your resolve or your determination or other stats. So it's really up to you. If you see something here that like, oh yeah, this sounds like what I want my character to have as far as quote-unquote backstory, you can pick it. If you don't care, you're not sure, just hit the little random roll button, the little dice, and just pick one that way. I'm just going to randomly roll on my character here. So I randomly rolled. I got, for my goal, my origin, I got Endless Wah. For my accomplishment, I got Made It Flashy. And for my goal, I got Artist. And then when I go to selected bonus, now in the drop-down menu, I have 3 choices there, and I pick which one I want. So the Endless Wog will give me bonus resolve, the Made It Flashy will give me wealth, and the Artist will give me increased wounds. So since I'm building a mech boy here, I'm going to go with wealth because I want more money. So again, it is something you can min-max if you want to read through each one in the rulebook and see what they give you, or just pick the ones you like, and then you still get to pick one of those 3 when you're done. And I guess while our players go through some of that, listeners, I'll go through a couple of the other things here. So, as I said, we've got attributes. They are pretty self-explanatory, but to give everybody a quick idea, you have strength, which, as in just about every other role-playing game on Earth, dictates how strong your character is physically. It'll dictate things like, how much you can carry. And in this game, just like many others, a higher strength means you hit harder in melee combat, you do more damage. Toughness in this game goes towards your resilience, which is your damage reduction in this game. Very kind of similar to Warhammer. So higher toughness means you're harder to hurt. Agility is used for shooting, for starters. That's a big one. And then obviously how agile your character is. So, maybe walking on a tightrope or balancing, things of that nature. Initiative is how quickly your character reacts, and that is the skill, that is the attribute that's used for melee combat in this game. So strength is used for damage, but your success to hit is used using initiative. Then we have willpower. I believe willpower is used when you're casting psychic powers, and also how well you resist the horrors of the 41st millennium. So things like fear, terror, corruption. Oh yes, corruption is still here. Intellect is your intelligence. That has to do with a lot of the skills here that are based off intelligence. The scholar skill, for example. I think the tech skill as well. And then fellowship, just like in Warhammer, is kind of like the measure of your character's charisma. Obviously, orcs don't tend to be very charismatic, so they have low maximums here. But again, certain skills are based on that, so helpful to know. Any questions so far, fellows, or is it all making sense?
Seems to be making sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. No, I think it will.
That sounds pretty good so far. I guess a couple things. From background bonuses, a couple of the options that I have here are resolve and determination.
Mm-hmm.
And those are not skills nor
They're traits. They are other
Oh.
stats on your character.
Okay.
So like wounds, resolve, determination. Resolve is used, I think, in regards to shock, which is kind of like your mental hit points. Well, I'm gonna finish my character stuff here, so I'm gonna just boost up a couple more skills.
So, squad mates, homies.
Yeah.
What are we all like building our shit towards? Are we? Because
Oh,
I assume that the burner is gonna be. Is burner melee? I don't know.
burner's both.
Yeah, it's kind of so it's like it was in the tabletop. So are you leveling like just even ballistics melee?
Yeah, I'm mainly doing ballistics and melee, and I rolled the artist, so I got the max wounds.
Oh,
So that
nice.
should be helpful. I haven't gone to the like talenty stuff yet. I'm still working on my attributes.
Right. And Eric, you're going melee, I assume.
Melee and sneaky.
Okay.
Chris, would melee just be strength?
No, so strength is going to increase how much damage you do when you hit in melee.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
Initiative increases
definitely
your
buffalo.
chance to hit. Think of initiative as like the weapon skill characteristic,
Gotcha.
and then the weapon skill is like
Uh-huh.
your melee basic skill.
Weapon skill is melee based.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
and then
do
ballistic skill is for ranged.
complain. That's not gonna get you a new one tonight. Sorry.
Oh, is one of your kids bugging you? Or your wife? Are you yelling at your wife?
No, we're yelling at Domino's. Sorry.
Understandable. Domino's has betrayed
They-
many people.
Yeah, they gave us the wrong delivery.
Jesus.
Completely
What the
wrong?
fuck?
Worse than normal.
Yeah,
Come
they,
on, boys.
I don't know. They messed up both mine and my wife's. So
Is it at least
There's
a
like
good
literally
replacement?
one job.
All right, so while they're doing that, I've spent 159 of my 200 XP on my Mechboy character here, basically boosting my stats and skills to varying degrees. So once you guys are done with that, you will hit the submit button, and you will be brought to the first page of your character sheet. And this is where we will finish everything else. And I'm hoping I did this right. I did not. So the only thing that sucks about this in Foundry is that it's showing your skills at the level they are based on your attribute. So it's hard to tell if you've actually put points into skills or not, which I realize now with my character here, my tech skill is at 7, but I only have skill points in 5 skills. So I need to add 2 more here. So let's give my bro a point of awareness. And that should affect... Oh, I've spent more XP than I can. Whoops. I'm not sure how that happened.
how do you see that?
Well, once everyone is finished on that page, then we'll go to the main page, because we can still mess around with stuff there.
So we do add talents after we hit the submit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Alright, so I guess I'll leave it. So I'm going with a Healy ballistic skill pain boy, so I gotta select my
Oh, for items on the War Gear side,
Mhm.
some of them I do have access to, but I think some items are just saying you don't know what this is.
Explain. I don't quite follow you.
Like, I don't know what a stick bomb is. As it says you don't have sufficient permissions to view this document sheet, and I think it's just because
Oh.
in
okay,
items
hold on.
all I have is the
right.
custom stuff, the Mega
Okay.
Blaster for the Mech Boy.
Let me...
Stick bomb's just a regular grenade, I think.
Yeah, but
I don't know what the stats would do.
no, you guys should have access to the War Gear folder. Let me
Yeah.
change that here.
Well,
Okay, so
it was giving me the same thing until I hit submit. Once I hit submit, I can look at my stuff.
all right. Well, you guys should have another folder in the core rulebook that says War Gear that show up.
I
Is
Under
that in
items.
items?
My character creation won't close.
don't think so.
No, the core rulebook, I just have talents still. That's the only one. Nope, still just talents.
Okay, what about now?
Nope, I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. That's only one of the. How many folders are in the War Gear folder?
Just weapons.
Oh, fucking Christ. Okay. Gotta give you guys access to every fucking folder.
Yeah, because I don't. Looks like I can see weapons, but I can't see my survival kit.
Okay, hold on. Let me give you guys access.
Well, they have little pictures for each one.
Oh yeah, because this is the official. They actually have an official Foundry module. So
Very
I've
nice.
got the core one, and I've got the Forsaken Systems guide because that adds some other player options. So all that is, I mean, it's well done. Okay, you guys should have 6 folders in the War Gear folder.
Weapons, armor,
Okay.
yes, I've got 6,
Now
yeah.
we'll talk.
Okay, everything should be in there. Other than the custom stuff that's already on your character sheet, like the Erdy syringe that the Pain Boy has, that's from a different book. So,
Right.
is everybody done with their stats and attributes and skills so far?
Yes, but I think I might have to restart Boundary because it's not closing the character creation.
Did you hit submit?
I did.
Whoa, hold on. Yeah, I think you do because it's showing like it looks like you've hit the submit button like 15 times.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
I'll
see.
be right back.
Because at the bottom it shows your keyword like Orc Clan like 100 times here. So let me start deleting those for you.
Okay.
But there is. It does look like it saved the stuff that you spent your experience on, though. So
That's good.
yeah, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than not having a Foundry module. So, oh my God, Kyle.
What? Did it completely fuck up?
Oh my God, your War Gear shows your ability, your Orc ability is like 4 times each. There's like 100 abilities here. Can I delete these?
Oh, yeah, jeez.
Oh, hold on. How do we? Oh no. Ew, no. Here we go. It's on talents. Okay, that's easy. And it looks like an orc actually put this character sheet together.
Yeah,
He's
that'd be
fucking
me.
orky.
Okay.
Get this under control.
Oh,
Has
wait.
everybody else submitted? Are you on the front page now of your character sheet at this point?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing you want to do is check on your notes tab of your character sheet on the far right and just make sure that you still have your experience isn't in the negative. If it's in the negative, then you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle, you look good. It says you spent 168, so you have 32 remaining. Wonderful. I'll check everybody's just to be sure. Sean is good. Your character sheets keep popping into the bestiary for some reason. Eric, you are good. And who's left? Matt. Great. Okay.
Did I buy the right number of skills, or do I need to fix that?
So I'm just gonna check that on everybody. So again, whatever your highest, not the total, but the highest amount that you've spent. So for example, Eric, on your character sheet, you have 3 points in awareness. So if you guys see on your skills, there are 3 numbers from left to right. So if we look at athletics, the first box, if you hover over it, it says base. The second one, if you hover over it, it says advances. And then the last one, the red number, is the total. So it's adding those first 2 numbers together. Now, the base, I don't know why they do this. The base should just be what your stat is, but the base is indicating if your archetype gave you points. So, Eric, on your character sheet, you'll see stealth. You have a base of 2, along with survival and weapon skill. So, those were because of your archetype. And then advances are what you've actually spent experience on. So, when you're on this front page, guys, you can change the second column that says advances. That's where you can change the number, and if you do, it'll automatically deduct or add experience points as need be. So, Eric, because you have 3 advances in awareness, that means you have to have at least 2 other skills that have at least 1 advance, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got survival, insight, deception, and cunning. So, you're fine with your skills right now.
Cool.
And don't really ask me, like, what's a good number of dice to be rolling at this point, because I don't really know the answer to that. I mean, typically the difficulty number will be 3, so probably, like, rolling less than 4 dice is probably considered not great, and I would assume rolling around 5 or 6 dice would be pretty good for this tier, so just keep that in mind. Now, same thing with your attributes. There's 3 numbers underneath, for example, strength. The first one on the top left is your base. The one on the bottom is advances, and then the red number is the total. So again, you can change the advances, that's the bottom number, and that will change everything else, including spending experience on your character sheet. So let's just make sure you all did your skills correctly here. Sean, let's see, ballistic skill 4, you're good. Okay. Kyle. Why do some of your skills have negatives on them? Doesn't seem right.
I have no idea.
Okay, we're gonna put that to the side and come back to that.
It let me go under the base level for skills. Like, I was trying to refund one and it let me just go down further than
Oh,
base
yeah,
would be.
because that other page is a little wonky. So, Matt, you have a max of 5? Yeah, hold on here. Let me double check this rule in the rule book just so I am not messing it up. Okay, the Tree of Learning. You must have points in a number of skills as the highest rating your character has in a single skill. So if you have an athletics rating of 4, you must have points in at least 3 other skills. Okay. So in that case, let's double check this again. So Matt, you start with a tech of 3 and you've put 2 points into it. So your tech skill level is at 5. So you need to have points in 4 other skills, which you have a couple, so you're fine. Kyle will come back to that disaster in a second. Eric, your highest is 2, so you're totally fine. Sean, your highest is 5 with ballistic skill, and Medicae is also 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're good. All right, so Kyle, what the fuck happened here?
Man,
Go ahead and change all those things that say negatives on your skill sheet and change that to 0. And see what that does to your experience when it's done. I had a little trouble with this when I started messing around with making a character too, because that first page is not great. Okay. Okay,
it didn't change anything.
Yeah, because it was all fucked up, that's why. So it's fine. You still have 32 experience left.
Great.
And so your highest skill is weapon skill. You have 2 base and 1 advance. You have 3. And you have points in 1, 2. Yeah, you're fine as well.
Cool.
Okay. So then, really, the next thing is talents. So I know it's a pretty fucking massive list, but feel free to go through and see. Now, some of these might be they have prerequisites. So it'll tell you under. So if you open a talent, there's a description, a stats, and an effects button you can press. The stats button will tell you the requirements that you have to have. So, for example, Angel of Death requirements are you must be rank 2 or higher. You guys are all rank 1 right now. And then you must be an Adeptus Astartes, so you have to be a certain species for this skill.
Oh shit!
And this one, for example, is 30 experience points.
So you can click on them to see what they do.
Yeah, if you left click on the name, and then the description will tell you what it does. The stats will tell you the requirement and the cost. And I don't think the effects really matters. That's just an extra button. So now you don't have to spend every last experience point. I mean, it's probably going to be difficult to spend every last one. So if you if you need to, you can save stuff for later.
Sorry, how many
Much-
talents can we buy?
As many as you want, as long as you have enough XP to do so. There's no limit on talents.
So do we just drag and drop?
Yes. Left click drag to your character sheet, and then it should pop up on your talents tab.
Nice.
The page for the archetype, if you open it up, had a few suggested ones at the bottom. I think I'm probably going to get at least one of those.
Oh, that's true,
Good
yeah.
point, good point. Yeah, we can check those before I just go straight into shooting. Perfect. Can't do that.
I mean, there's a talent called Mordaka, so
I know,
have
but
that
I
one
need-
open right now.
I need 35, and I don't have 35 XP.
well, you could
Hmm.
decrease some of your stats and or skills.
Possible, but I'm just gonna add dead shot and dunk guys from far away.
Great.
The flesh is weak. I'll add that one. And some other.
Oh, there's so many good ones.
There really
There's
are.
a lot, yeah.
Got to give you guys access to the orc clans, but I have to find them first. All right, giving you one more folder. Should be in the core rulebook. It should say keywords. Tell me if that shows up.
I saw the menu move. I think yeah, there it
Yeah,
is.
I see it.
So, you guys can do this now or when you're done picking talents, but you're going to want to open the keywords folder and go to the clans folder. There are 6 different clans to choose from. Now, for our listeners and our players, clans are rough groupings of orcs that have similar mentalities and ways that they look at life. A single tribe or warband of orcs is often comprised of orcs from all different clans. So it doesn't always mean that every person in the tribe is a Death Skull or a Goth. When you pick one of these, this is kind of like, think of this like picking a Space Marine chapter or an Imperial Guard regiment. This is kind of the little sub-flavor of orc that you are. And you can click on each of these and see what they are. In the lore, Bad Moons are orcs whose teeth grow the fastest, and since orc teeth are how they use that for their currency and money, they tend to be the richest orcs, and so they get bonus money in this game. Blood Axes are orcs that first encountered the Imperium, and they actually use tactics and tend to be sneaky. A lot of commandos come from the Blood Axe clan, and they're also known to actually trade and barter with humans for war gear and stuff, which they inevitably turn on whoever they traded with. Death Skulls are scavengers and looters, so they're kind of the junkers of the orc society. They also tend to wear lots of blue on their armor and war paint because it's lucky. The evil sons are the orcs who are obsessed with speed and the color red, because everybody knows red ones go faster. And because of that, they always tend to be in vehicles of some sort, or just very, very fast orcs. So the speed freaks come from the evil sons clan often, painting their vehicles red. The orc bikes, trucks, and stuff of that nature. The Goths are the biggest and most violent orcs, and they love getting up close. So they are the close combat specialists, and they tend to be the orc tribes or the orc clans that have the most infantry and the most foot sloggers. And the Snakebites are orcs who are a bit more primitive compared to other orcs. They still kind of follow the old ways, as they call it, and they kind of live in more of a tribal society where they like to live off the land. They use a lot of beasts like squigs and various squig species, and they don't use a whole lot of tech. They also tend to pass down orc traditions, kind of like with an oral storytelling type tradition in some regards. So you can pick whatever clan you want to be from, and all you got to do is drag that from that folder onto your character sheet, and it should appear at the bottom where it says keywords on your first page. All right, I'll give you guys a moment to do that. I'm going to go refill my water.
None of the clans seem to have like a real positive effect for me going ballistic skill and healing, so I'm just going to go with bad moons and I guess get wealth.
All right. Any questions so far from anybody?
No?
I'll
Well,
maybe
just
opening
cruising.
a bag of worms here, but one of my suggestions was to take the augmetic talent, which is offering 2 augments of rare or lower quality. See Book of Augmetics for more information.
It's not as difficult as you think. As a matter of fact, I believe if you go under your war gear folder, that has augmetics in it. Yep. So augmetics are basically cybernetic mechanical enhancements, and if you click on the name of one of them, if you go to the stats tab, it'll tell you the rarity that it is. All pieces of war gear, weapons, armor, augmetics, basically every item in the game has a rarity, which determines how easy or difficult it is to get your hands on. This game does not use money like in other games where it's like, oh, I've got 100 crowns, I'm just going to go to the store and buy a bolt gun. In this game, it's done much more abstractly using the wealth and influence system. So your wealth basically is kind of a representation of how much actual money or things that are worth a monetary value that your character has. Each point of wealth represents one thing. It could be, a stash of teeth in your guys' case because you're orcs. It could be an item or maybe some fancy trinket you got a hold of. You don't necessarily have to dictate what that is. We can just assume, oh, I've got 3 wealth. That means, I've got some money and other good stuff. But you can also get more in detail and actually describe what those things are. Because, again, it's much more nebulous and open when you are trying to get your hands on war gear. And then your influence value also dictates. Influence basically dictates how easy it is for you to acquire war gear, and then you can use wealth to make acquiring war gear easier. Basically is how it works. But unlike in the last edition of this fucking game, Cubicle 7 had the bright idea of actually assigning values and numbers to shit, so you're not just pulling numbers out of the air trying to figure out what the fuck am I supposed to do. So thank you, Cubicle 7, because I remember playing the first edition of this game, and it was a fucking disaster because they don't explain. They're just all, here's some stuff, make it work.
Yeah. Like, oh, I want to get a plasma cannon. It's difficult.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, well, it's very rare, so it should be hard to do, but they don't give you any numbers. Like, if your game can't give the GM the tools they need to run the fucking game, then you need to go back to the drawing board. So
there's some issues here.
Kudos, Cubicle 7. It's all spelled out, and it's way easier. Nebulous is not always good. So yeah, Matt, if you want to take that talent, by all means. I think it's awesome. I love that talent.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in here too.
Yeah,
So many
man.
options. Oh boy.
There are a few orc ones specific too. The Iron Gob, you know, the metal jaw that a lot of orcs have. You get a fucking augmented eye. Some like mechanical lungs.
The eye looked pretty cool. I think I might grab one of those. Or
For
even
our-
two.
Yeah, for our tech priest characters out there, you can get yourself some mechadendrites,
Nice.
and then you can choose what type of mechadendrite it is. There's ballistic, exploration, medical, optical, servo arm. That's so cool.
Oh, fuck. Heck, Chris. I think that the problem before did the same thing with my war gear.
Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Oh my god! It's like
Like, I got a lot of shit.
Damn,
He's
son.
got like... Dude, he's carrying around like 7 Burnos. This guy's got
I'm
7
I'm just
flamethrowers.
made of shit.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have a problem with inventory.
You're clearly just a fucking
I'm a
orc
fire
mech.
hazard. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright,
should be
let's-
damned.
Yeah, for any of you that started with grenades, if you actually go to your gear section, it should show how many you have in your quantity. And it looks like it did that right for you, which is good, because you were one of the custom characters.
Mhm.
So, okay. Yeah, so you should only have 1 suit of flak armor, not
Yeah.
8.
Just staple the other ones on top.
Yeah.
I'll just hold it on.
And then just like in Warhammer, you click the little circle to equip your items so that you can actually use
Oh,
them.
gotcha.
And then yeah, other gear and stuff will show up there. We'll talk about ammo next time. Ammo's kind of nebulous in this game, kind of like an Alien. You have reloads, and you use, or ammo, one of the two. You use them to do like special stuff in the game, like shooting special attack options and things like that. So there's some fun stuff to do with that. Oh, Death Skulls. My hero.
It seemed like the best option.
I just think the blue orcs look so cool. And they like to loot everything they get their grubby hands on.
Yeah, that's what I like to do too.
Okay.
I mean, in games.
Okay, so Sean, I heard you say you're doing a bad moon, and have you picked your talents?
Yeah, I just took the dead shot talent. I realized though that I have no shooting gear. The mech boy or the pain boy doesn't start with DACA.
Well, you're gonna have to find some then.
I know.
It's okay. You're
Be
just ready
interesting.
for it. Just run around with your meat cleaver until your bone saw until you find
Saw
something.
is ready.
Okay, so you look pretty good here. Just checking. Okay, you got 1 experience left. Okay, that's all done. Cool. Okay, you're good. Kyle, let's see. You are. Looks like pretty much finished. Doing a death skull. What talent did you pick? Or did you pick any talents?
I picked 2: Blood Must Flow and Dirty Fighter.
Nice.
Those sound awesome.
A big asshole.
As all orcs tend to be.
Yeah, but like a really big one.
Dirty
The
fighter.
biggest
Awesome.
fucking asshole.
Okay, Matt, let's see. You've still got some XP to spend.
Yeah,
looks
I
like-
need to knock some in. So if I take Augmetic, it's like add the value of the XP, or add the value of the augments you take in XP cost for buying that.
Oh,
I think
that's
that
right.
has
Oh,
to be done manually.
yeah, so here's what you do. If you go to your talent page, I think that one automatically costs 20, doesn't it? Plus whatever the things are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go to stats where it says cost, I believe you can edit that
Oh, in the thing. Gotcha.
in the actual talent, yeah. Okay,
So like
cool.
I is 6 and The servo arm says 0. Is that correct?
Let me double
take
check.
Take an arm.
Can you take a servo arm as an orc?
Oh, is that a different thing?
I think
You
that's
sure you-
normally Imperium.
You sure you check the? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't show it in here.
Does it have to have like an orc tag?
Let me check in the rulebook because I don't see anything here in Foundry.
Yeah, I think the gear you get, it has to have a specific your
I think
keyword.
Yeah, exactly. That goes back to the keyword thing. What's it called? Augmetics, right?
Augmetic, yeah.
For those following along at home, augmetics are on page 242 of the physical rulebook. Oh yeah, so it'll say on there keyword, so on and so forth. Which one were you looking at? Servo arm? Yeah, Mechadendrite is Adeptus Mechanicus.
Okay, so it.
I don't think it actually shows that in.
Okay, because the other ones say keywords any. Gotcha. And I guess this one is.
Oh, okay, if you go to
Like-
Mechadendrite and go to stats, it has a keyword listed.
Oh, so that's something. That's the servo arm related to the Mechadendrite. That's not its own thing.
Yeah, so you pick Mechadendrite and then you pick the type that you have, and servo arm is one of like the 6 types you can choose.
That's going in the bin then.
Bye.
Should I to get these? I don't think do. I have any wealth to get these? Any augmetics, or are we just you can
No,
just get
it's
whatever?
It's a talent that he is picking.
Oh.
That gives him augmetics.
Gotcha.
Trust me, as an orc, you have a very high chance of ending up with an augmetic one day. Especially because there's a mech boy and a pain boy in your group.
Yes.
It's sort of just gonna happen. We're gonna figure it out at one point.
Yeah, you don't really get a choice. You
More
know,
orc than orc.
yeah, don't get hurt because when you go see the doc, you end up with a bionic arm.
We found a cool diesel engine somewhere, and so we're just gonna put it in your chest and hope it works, bro.
Hell yeah. Eric, how you doing over there? Have you picked your clan and your talents yet?
Yes, I am definitely going with the Blood Axe.
Okay.
And I couldn't decide, so I wanted 3 talents.
Oh yeah. Which pick?
Silent, Eliminator, and Brutalist, which were all on my suggested archetype ones, and they were pretty good.
I mean, the names sound exactly like what a commando would have.
Yes.
Wonderful. I think we just need Matt to finish his talents and then pick a clan. Matt, I'm noticing on the front page of your character sheet, at the bottom it says under keywords, there's one that says new keyword. Did that just end up there somehow?
Oh yeah, I clicked the plus at some point.
Alright, we'll just delete that. And then I'm going to delete the one that says clan, because when you pick a clan, it'll put it on the character sheet, so...
Yeah, I think you might have to do that for me too.
I did it for everybody else. You guys are
Oh,
good.
okay.
So we've got a Bad Moon, a Death Skull, a Blood
50
Axe.
skulls.
Ooh, 2 Death Skulls, even better.
Nice.
Okay. Love it. Okay.
We're looping.
Are you done with talents, Matt? Or have you finished picking your augmetics yet? You still got to pick more.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab another.
Because don't you get 2 with that talent?
Yeah. I'll do 2 eyes. Get different bonuses.
Permanent augmetic eyes. Oh, and then you pick what the eye does? Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
There's some options there too.
Telescopic eye? What the fuck?
All right, Inspector Gadget, chill.
Yeah, dude. It's like, that's amazing. Pick recorder? That's creepy. Can record 1 hour of video or for some reason, 86,400 still images.
He's gonna send like a scrapbook image of just his best highlights in the fights.
A real Cam Jensen type.
You could be an orc reporter.
Or he could be an orc streamer.
Oh boy.
Or an orc creeper.
Yep, yep.
Right. Oh my god, that is fucking hilarious. This is already what I was expecting. Alright. Well, the physical stuff for your character sheet, I believe you can actually roll for all that stuff generically, I think. But we don't have to worry about that right now. That's pretty much it for character creation. I think the only other thing, I'm going to double check here. I don't recall if you can actually get any gear when you start if you pick a package here, so let me check. Is there anywhere in your character sheet where you guys can actually roll your objective? Because there's a list of 6, and you're supposed to roll at the start of every session.
I don't see anything.
There was like a bulleted list in character creation or something.
Yeah, but I don't see it anywhere on the actual character sheet.
There's an objective thing, but not. It gives me a clicking. It's on the notes.
Yeah, but where's the
Nothing
list?
happens.
Doesn't really
Yeah.
help. Okay, we'll have to figure that one out. Yeah, so basically in this game, you roll an objective every session, and then if you complete that objective, you get some a bonus point of wrath, I believe. So, well, we can finish up the rest of the character stuff. I mean, it's really just your physical appearance. If one quick thing, if you guys go to your combat tab, that's all the rest of your stats there. So your defense, and these are all based and they're all what's the word I'm looking for? They all come off of your stats. So I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but like your resilience is your armor and your toughness, so on and so forth. You'll make sure that your gear is actually selected. Like your armor, for example. So this is all stuff that's just derivative from your various stats here. And your defense is the target number that an enemy has to roll to hit you. And if it's anything like the original game, usually it's very hard to get your defense up very high, so it's usually fairly easy to hit somebody in this game. But your resilience puts your toughness and your armor together, and that's your damage reduction. Shock can be used to absorb wounds, and sometimes certain things will do shock damage. And then wounds are how many wounds you have before you hit 0, and if you hit 0, you can start getting injuries and things like that. So there's some great stuff here to be had. Don't have to worry about faith. And honestly, as orcs, you probably won't have to worry much about corruption, because orcs don't really fall to chaos because they just don't. They're not really corruptible because they're already off doing their own thing. And, really the chaos gods don't really have a way to tempt them, because orcs don't give a fuck about that sort of stuff. So I don't think you guys have to worry too much about corruption. So it'll be a much different change from what it was in Gallows Geist. So we'll talk about character backstories and names and all that next time when we get to the next episode and actually start the campaign here. So why don't we move on and kind of finish things up for tonight? If you have other things to do, Matt, I know you still have some XP to spend. Go ahead if you're not done with that. But let's just kind of go through a few other things here. So again, the core mechanic of this game is a D6 system. So when you need to make any sort of action, you can press the button for either your attribute or your skill, or in the case of a weapon, you can actually roll on the weapon on your combat tab. So again, make sure you have your stuff equipped, otherwise it's not going to show up there. And so why don't we just do some quick stuff here just to kind of mess around. If everybody wants to go ahead and roll me any skill, whatever you want, just to kind of see how this works. So when you click on the skill name, a window will pop up just like in Warhammer, and then it shows the DN, the difficulty number. So I will tell you what that is. It's usually going to be 3. Some skills add your rank or rank bonus. You guys are rank 1. You can be rank 1, 2, or 3 in this game. You start at rank 1 of whatever tier you're in. And then a bonus. In this game, any bonus is done as bonus dice to your dice pool. So if I tell you make an athletics test at +2, that means get 2 extra dice. So in this case, you would add a 2 in that bonus thing there. Oh, I'm sorry. That's for dice pool, not DN. If there's a bonus to DN, that would make the test harder. So if it's DN 3, that's how many successes you need. If I told you it's DN +2, so now in this case it would be DN 5. If there's a bonus to your dice pool, then that adds more dice to your pool. And then the Wrath, I'm not sure what changing that number does there, but Wrath is a meta currency in this game. You guys have Wrath and Glory, and I have Ruin. Wrath is an individual character thing. You start with 2 every session. Glory is a meta currency that the entire team has access to. It starts at 0 every session, but there are things in the game that will add to the glory pool, and I think it maxes out at number of characters or 6, whatever's higher. I'll double check that, but Wrath is basically used for doing rerolls or making a narrative declaration. And then Glory can be used to add extra dice to a pool, add extra damage die, and some other little minor things. If you look on your Journals tab under Wrath and Glory, it'll explain exactly what they do here. And then I have Ruin, which is the GM equivalent of Wrath. So I actually have a meta currency to spend for all the bad guys, and that will increase either as you guys get critical failures or through a few other things. But so it's kind of like I guess there's not really an equivalent of that in Warhammer Fantasy. So but yeah, you spend Wrath to reroll all your failures on a test. So anything that came up as a 1, 2, or 3, or you can make a narrative declaration, so you can kind of change something in the scene, or you can restore some of your shock. And you restore shock equal to your rank plus your tier. These guys are rank 1, tier 2, so you'd get 3 shock back. And shock is generally used to try to absorb wounds before you take wound damage, if you so choose. And then Glory is used to increase your dice pool, increase damage. You can seize the initiative, which means your character can go next in combat, or you can increase the severity when you score critical hits in combat. So that's always a lot of fun. So, with that in mind, why doesn't everybody go ahead and roll me a ballistic skill test? No bonuses, no changes, just go ahead and roll. We'll do some freaky dice. Okay, so let's go up to the top here. We will look at Matt's test here. So,
I had a bonus of 2, and so it says DN5 on mine.
Okay, that's fine. When you roll, one of your dice is what's called a Wrath dice. It's done, in this case, as a different color or different size if you're rolling at home. So, Matt, it looks like your total, you had a dice pool of 7 here, and you see the red one, that's your Wrath dice. That is how you score criticals and failures in this game. If your Wrath dice comes up as a 6, you've scored a critical success. If you've rolled a 1, which it looks like in Foundry here is a Chaos Star, that is a complication. That's a critical failure. Now, kind of like in Warhammer, you can score criticals and complications, but still pass or fail the test separately. So in this case, Matt's was rolling against a DN of 5, difficulty number 5, so he needed 5 successes. And if we look here, he rolled 2 4s and 2 6s. So again, the 6s are exalted icons. Those count as 2 successes each. And 5s and 4s count as 1 icon. So he's got a total of 2, 4, 5, 6 successes. We see here it says he's got 6 successes and he's got 3 failures because he rolled a 3, a 1, and then a 1 on his wrath die. So the wrath die, there's no shifts, which we'll get to in a second. And he has a complication here. So Matt, you could actually hit the button to roll complication and then something would happen. Now, lost item. So yeah, there's a critical failure complication table in this game that you can roll on, or the GM can just come up with something, or even you can suggest something too if you roll something that doesn't make sense. You might roll your weapon got stuck, but you were shooting a gun, so that doesn't make any sense. So in this case, Matt, you passed the test. You had 5 or more icons, 5 or more successes. So in this case, you would do damage with your weapon. But you have a complication, so we'd roll that complication and find out what happens. Now, the other thing I can do is, instead of rolling a complication, I can take a point of ruin when you score a complication instead. So if you rolled something I don't think makes sense, or if I just don't want to come up with something, or I feel a ruin point would be more appropriate, I can take a ruin point instead. If we look at, I'm the knob, I guess. I passed as well. I've got 4 successes and 2 failures, so I'm good. I passed on my 3 there. And then if we go to Sean, you had passed as well, just barely. And nobody's got any shifts. Okay, let's go down to Kyle's Gravescorcha. So in Kyle's case, he had a dice pool of 5, rolling against a DN of 3. He's got a 4, a 5, and a 5. That's 3 icons. And he has a 6 for an exalted icon. And he rolled a complicate. Well, you rolled everything here, Kyle. So
Really good for examples.
Yeah. So you guys will see he has 5 successes, he has 1 failure, and he has 1 shift. So what is a shift? A very important aspect of this game. A shift is when you take any 6 that you rolled. If you take that out of the roll and you still pass the roll, you can take that 6, that exalted icon, and shift it to do other things. So in the case of combat, you can shift it to potentially do extra damage, or that's how you get glory points as well. So in this case, Kyle, you needed to get 3 successes. You rolled 3 successes alone on those other 3 dice, and you have a 6. So because that's 6, you don't need it to pass your test. You can shift it, and then you could decide what you want to do with it.
Oh.
So that is generally how you guys are going to build up your glory pool. However, you can use shifts for other things too. Sort of similar to how you can do stunts in Alien, you can spend shifts to either get extra information or improve the quality or speed of whatever test you were doing. So if this was a non-combat test, you might want to shift to, maybe you're hacking a door, you want to do it faster, or you're searching through some book or some information, you want to get more information on top of whatever you rolled. So that's what the sort of things you can do there. And again, this is all in those folders I gave you guys access to in the journals thing. Finally, you can shift for a point of glory. So you add a point of glory to the group's pool. You can only do that once per test. So even if you had rolled 2 6s there, Kyle, you can always shift multiple times, but you can only shift for glory once.
Okay.
And then you can also shift for damage, which in this game, extra damage is just referred to as ED. And you will see that on some of your weapons. For example, if you guys go to your combat tab, you'll see your weapons listed. You see it will have a base damage and it'll have ED. ED are extra damage dice that attack rolls. And whenever you roll extra damage dice, very simply a 4 or higher adds another point of damage to your test. So I'm looking at this character I put together. He's got a custom slugga. It's damage 10. It has an ED, of 1, and it has no AP value. So it does 10 damage, and then I roll one extra damage die. If I get a 4, 5, or 6, that's one extra damage. So Kyle, if you're making an attack, you have a shift there. You can shift to give yourself another extra damage die and potentially do more damage with your attack.
Okay.
So shifting is one of the cool little mechanics this game has, and that's why you want to having bigger dice pools is better, because you can roll more 6s and potentially get more cool stuff going on. And that's really the base mechanic of the game. D6 dice pool, one of your dice, usually on almost all tests, will be a RAF die. So in this case, it's a red die here we see in the chat log. Rolling a 6 on your RAF die gives you a critical. Rolling a 1 on the RAF die gives you a complication. And if you roll extra 6s beyond what you need to pass the test, you can shift those to do a variety of cool things. That's really the basics right there. Now, sometimes you'll make an attribute test, just like in Warhammer, you might have to make a strength test. Same thing, you just click on strength, and it'll roll your dice, and it looks like that also rolls a RAF die here as well. So you see my dice I just rolled on behalf of Eric. I did pretty fucking terrible there, no successes. And Sean's got 2 successes, but a failure with the complication, so... Yeah, so that one there, Sean, it's giving you more of like a narrative complication versus, because you did an agility test, but, maybe you slipped, your step opened up a pipe, for example, and now there's water flooding, so visibility's lowered or whatever. So there's a little finessing to it, but creative DMs can get really cool with this, as you saw when we played this back in the day, so it really hasn't changed. So... any questions about any of that?
No?
All right. Well, why don't we hop over to a little quick combat on this fancy-dancy little map I put together here for you guys. And let me activate that and drag everybody over. And everybody should... you guys see the map?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me put your characters on the thing here. You have to zoom in because it's a pretty big map. But yeah, actually, I guess... we'll share character art next time, but you guys can see. We can change all the names and everything later once you guys have names. Peppa MD. All right. Can everybody access and move their token around?
Move mine, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. And let's give you guys a few bad guys to fight here. Let's just say we're having a good old brawl with a couple more orcs and grots. So, here's what we're going to do. Alright, we're going to put... okay, Sean, you're going to go there. Kyle, you're going to go chill over here by this bush. Eric's hiding in this bush over here. And Frogget is on top that boulder. And let's give you guys a couple orc boys. Oh, they don't give you a picture? What the hell? Let's say there's a picture on the fucking... Are they different pictures? Whoa. Whoa, it gives random... That's fucking weird. Okay. Let's get a couple grots in here, too, because why not? Alright. These grots are dancing around this big, red, glowy... rock, which of course you want to have that glowy rock, and that's why we're fighting. That seems pretty orcish. All right. So, normally, initiative in this game is done with the players go first, and then we alternate. So normally, you guys would pick one of your characters to go, and then I would go, so on and so forth. However, we're not doing that. We're going to do rolling for initiative. So, as with all of our other games, please go ahead and add yourself to the initiative track. Let me start an encounter here. And I believe when you are rolling, it's going to roll your initiative stat, and whoever has the most successes gets to go first.
No. Oof. I only have an initiative of 1. I'm going last.
So do we all
Frogget,
just
you need to roll.
simultaneously?
No, it does. There is a tiebreaker in the game. I forget what it is, but it looks like Foundry's already calculating it. So now, if you guys had glory, you can always spend a point of glory to seize the initiative and have your character act next. So we're gonna start the combat here. So Kyle, you are up first. Make sure you all have your armor and your weapons equipped.
Wait, we're supposed to have armor?
Mandos might not. Since
Yeah.
they sneak, I don't know.
No, you have ripped clothes.
Oh, okay.
Is that their armor?
Yeah, ripped clothes.
I mean, that's more armor than a grot, right?
No, because I don't have that on my sheet. Do I need to
Oh.
add that to my sheet, or does it actually just not do anything?
Oh wait, I'm looking at threats. Hold on. I mean, it would have added it because you did your archetype. So, and you have an
So I'm-
official one, so I'm going to
so I'm
assume
naked.
yours is correct. Naked Commando. That's why he blends in so well. All right. Yeah, I guess you don't have armor to start. So, yeah.
Good
get
luck.
Fucked. Get fucked, noob.
Oh, is that why they call it command?
Okay, so Kyle, you are first to go.
Yep.
And basically during a combat, there are movement actions, there are combat actions, and then just like in most other games, there's free actions and reflexive actions. Free actions you can do at will. Reflexive actions usually are in when you react to something. But basically, you can do a movement, and then you can do like a combat action. So you guys are probably going to want to start referencing that quick combat reference guide in your journals tab, because that'll have a lot of this stuff in there. Oh yeah, so here you'll see. So quick reference guide, the first set is the action, so it breaks down the different action types in that you can take during a single turn. So combat action, movement, simple, free, and reflexive. Generally that's going to be, you're going to have a movement action and a combat action during your turn. And then you can see there's a variety, kind of like in Warhammer, you can do called shots, you can do using skills to do interaction attacks and things like that. If you scroll all the way down, it's got your different melee options and ranged options. So if you make a ranged attack, you can do a specific type of ranged attack versus just, doing a straight-up attack. But we'll keep it simple for now. We'll just start off with some basic stuff. So Kyle, you're up first. What would you like to do?
How can you see my cursor? How tall are the rocks here?
Same height.
Like,
It'd be
so
like
I could-
a bridge to jump across.
Okay, so that would be like a little agility deal.
Yeah, I would say that's going to be an athletics test to hop the rocks.
Okay. So where's movement determined?
Movement is going to be on your combat tab. It'll be your speed. And
So 6. So that would be 6 squares.
that is what I am checking, because it says
Okay.
you move your speed in meters. How far? Say anything about a grid? Of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ruler tool seems to imply that a square is a meter.
Okay, that works for me. Because it would be set up that way in Foundry. So if that's what it's doing, then each square is a meter, so you can move 6 squares. That's with a basic move, though. You could also, if you look under the movement actions, you can do a run, a sprint, a crawl, or go into cover. So,
Okay.
for example, if you do a run, you use your movement and your simple action to run, but it lets you move double your speed. If you do a sprint, it's all your actions, but you move triple your speed. And then you can click to see. However, sprinting has to be in a straight line. Run does not have to be in a straight line.
Okay, so if I run, I can use simple and movement, and I would still be able to use an attack.
Correct.
Sweet. All right, let's do that.
All right. Well, give
well-
me an athletics test first as you hop between the rocks.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Straight DN3, nothing fancy here. Orc boy gets stuck in. New combat battle cries. Love
Oh
it.
boy.
Okay, so you have one success. So in this case, you would fail the test. So
Mhm.
you can either spend a point of wrath to re-roll all your failed ones, or you can suck it up and see what happens. Do we want to learn how falling damage works on the first day?
Fuck, I
Yes.
don't. Not with me, I don't. Okay, so I have 2 wrath, right?
Yeah, it should be on the front page of your character sheet, on the top right.
Uh-huh. And do I just hit it?
Um,
Or do I do something in the
right click on your test in the chat, and just like in Warhammer, reroll failed with 1 wrath point. Just like when
okay.
you burn fortune. Okay, so you rolled. You did succeed now, because you've got a 6 and a 5, so that's 3 successes. However, you rolled a complication. So you do pass, but something unexpected happens. So
Yeah.
go ahead and roll your complication, and then go ahead and do your movement. Warp interference. The Chaos Gods are watching. For a moment, you feel the eyes of one of the ruinous powers on you. They frighten you, learn one of your secrets, or cause a supernatural mishap. All right, here's what I'm going to say, Kyle. As you go charging across these rocks to get to the other side, this red glowy rock begins to pulsate with some unnatural energy, and it is so bright and so shiny and distracting to your orc eyes that you're going to have a negative on your shot here.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and move your 12,
Okay, so I'm
and
gonna do
then
1,
you may attack.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You got 3 more.
10, 11, 12.
Okay.
And then
And
how
then-
can I judge how far away my shot can go?
It's probably
with the burn-up?
weapon. So it shows range on your Burna.
Okay. Let's see.
I don't remember what that actually means. Let's just double check. I think it's short, medium, and long range is how this goes. But let's.
Ranged 1. Oh, range 4, 8, 12.
Yeah, hold on. I'm looking at your sheet here.
Okay.
Gear, Burna. Okay. Oh, that one. Okay, so I'm looking on your combat tab. It
Yeah.
says range 1, and then it's got the line, and then so 4, 8, 12 are the range categories. The first number is the salvo. Salvo comes into play when you do some of the special shooting abilities where you use ammo or you burn your reloads to do various things. So it might be like, oh, you get to roll an extra die per salvo or stuff like that. So I don't think you have to worry about that unless you're doing a special attack. So yeah, range is 4, 8, 12. And pretty sure that the further away something is, the harder it is to hit. Let me pull up a ranged attack here. Let's see. If your target is in short range, you get +1 bonus die to your roll. If the target is beyond medium range, they get +2 to their defense. And if your target is beyond long range, any ranged attack automatically misses. So basically what that's saying, if they're in short range, you get +1 die. If they're at long range, they get +2 defense. And if it's further than long range, you can't shoot them. And the range of your thing is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Yeah, so he's in range, just barely, of your basic range. So you would get +1 die. So when you, just like in Warhammer, be sure you target him. And then you're going to add 1 bonus die, but you're also going to increase the DN of your test by 1. Because
how do I get the rulers off? Because it's fucking up my map.
Top left, click on the little square that's broken into 4 pieces that says select tokens.
Got it. And I can finally. Okay, so I've targeted him. And rolling, Berna, and you said what was the
+1 bonus, but also +1 DN because of your complication.
okay?
So it should be DN. Actually, hold on. You're rolling against his defense, not a DN. His defense is 2, so the DN will be 3 in total.
So DN base is 3. Bonus of 1.
The DN is 2 because
2
when
with
you
bonus 1.
when you attack somebody, the DN is their defense, which in this guy's
okay.
case is a 2.
Okay, so 2 with a bonus of 1, and then dice pool, I get a bonus of 1.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
All right. The flamethrower succeeds, but you have a complication during. Okay, so first off, roll your damage. There's a button right there. So that's rolling your extra damage because your weapon has a 1 ED, so it gets 1 extra damage die. That didn't add anything, so it's just doing the base damage, which is 10.
Okay.
So then what I do is I take this guy's what is it? Determination? Is that what it's called? Hold on. Gotta find his sheet. Where'd he go? Mr. Granat. Okay, his resilience is 2, so he has a damage reduction of 2, so that 10 drops down to an 8. And, well, 8 wounds is more than enough to kill this poor innocent Gretchen. So,
Aha.
let that be our first of the campaign. And he dead and on fire. However, you rolled a complication, so please roll that. Now, the complications for weapons will be different. It's a D66 table. Out of ammo!
Fucking burn this dude dead. Till it went click.
So in this case, yeah, so you normally start with 3 ammo, I think, with your weapons. So in this case, you've burned through your clip, basically. You have to spend 1 of your ammo next turn to reload the gun, and then you're down to 2 ammo. So it's all done, again, abstractly. We don't count bullets or fuel cells or anything like that, but that guy's fucking toast. And that is your turn. So, Frogget the mech boy, you're up.
All right. Well, I think I was gonna move towards this branch here. We've got 6 is at the foot of it. Does that put me close enough to shoot any of these guys? I think so. Can I see like this orc boy on the right?
Yes, but he'll have some cover. So it'll be
Yeah,
a little
that's
harder to hit him.
That's probably fine.
Let's see
I'm
if there
gonna-
actually is cover in this game. There probably is. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Really simple. +1 defense if less than half of you is covered. +2 if more than half. It's only half, so he'll have +1 defense in addition to anything else. What's the range on your gun?
It's 12 is short range, and I think
Is he in 12?
I'm exactly 12 from him.
Those poor bastards. Okay, well, he is going to be a total defense of 3 with the cover from the pillar. Just be sure, again, target him. Right-click on him. Make sure you have him targeted, or left-click, however you guys do it as players. Oh, man. Pop this out. Pop that window out. Great mod. How do you target, Sean? Is it double-click, right-click?
Double right click.
Double right click, yeah.
There it goes. I tried everything else.
A likely story.
Okay. So you got that. With the gun, you click it in the gear.
And then just give him, on combat, click it. Click
Okay.
the weapon. And then be sure you give him +1 DN for his defense cover.
Oh, I see. Here we go. Equip that stuff. Now we're talking.
Hey, you can't click on the traits for the weapon, though. That's stupid.
You said
What?
2 DN for cover as a bonus?
+1, so he's a total of 3. What you got there? Okay, well, that is definitely successes. You have a shift, so you can shift for damage, or you can... is there a way to actually... Oh, okay. So here's how it works, guys. You can actually left-click on each of the icons in your roll, and it gets slightly highlighted with red. So Matt, if you left-click that 6, it'll be slightly highlighted. If you then right-click on it, it gives you that drop-down menu of how to shift. So you can shift for damage or for glory.
Okay.
Okay, then you roll damage. So you'll roll the extra damage dice, which in this case is going to be what? 5? 6? Oh, you have a custom Mega Blaster? Oh, that's fair.
That's
Wow.
what it came with on the archetype, I guess.
19 damage AP 3. So AP reduces their armor value, just like in 40k. So you do 19 damage. Oh my god. This guy's resilience is 5, which is dropped down to 2 because of your AP. So he reduces your damage to 17. So he takes 17 points of damage and dies. A horrible, horrible death.
Oh boy.
Okay. I see where this game's going already. Orc boys are up with a resounding wah. They are going to start rushing into combat as they would. Okay, this guy's going to attempt to get over the tree, so I'm going to make him take an athletics test. And he fails. I guess we're going to learn what falling damage does in this game.
At least it's not me.
Yeah, let's see. What we got? Environmental hazards. Got to be here. Here we go. Falling. Oh my god, it's 2 sentences. When you fall a distance of 5 meters or more, you suffer falling damage. You suffer 1 mortal wound, plus D3 mortal wounds for every extra 5 meters you fall. Well, that would be 15 feet. So I think that's more than enough. So he's going to take a wound, a mortal wound. So mortal wounds, nothing reduces mortal wounds unless you have something very, very special. So he would take a wound, and he is still standing. Well, he's prone at this point, but you get the idea. Is there an effects tab? Oh, there is. Oh, it's just like... Is this prone? Yeah. Okay. Well, he falls and he's prone. He does not complete his charge. The other orc is going to be a bit more cunning. He's going to go take cover behind this pillar, and he's going to try to shoot you with his, what's he got? Slugga? Pistol? Slugga. There we go. Slugga is range 6. Okay, well, you are at long range for him, so it'll be... You're going to get +2. So what is your defense? Matt? First page, I think. Or your combat tab?
Looks like 1.
Okay. And that's going to go up to... There's 2 more because of the range, if I recall. Right? He scores a hit, but he has no shifts possible, so he's going to roll damage. Boom! 11 damage from his trusty pistol. So, you're going to go to your combat tab. You're going to look at a couple things here. The first is you will look at your resilience. That is your armor plus your toughness bonus. That number is deducted from the damage of his pistol.
Okay.
The other thing you can do is you can do what's called rolling for determination. When you roll determination, you roll, I believe it's your toughness. Let me double check here. I think that's how it works, but
Looks like it.
okay. You can roll determination whenever you suffer 1 or more wounds to convert them into shock instead of wounds. Roll a number of dice equal to your toughness. Every icon you roll reduces the number of wounds you suffer by 1 and causes you to suffer 1 shock instead. I don't know why it says determination 4, though. Oh, I see. Okay. So on your combat tab, there is a button under injuries that says determination. That is equal to your toughness value. If you click that button, that will make a determination roll, which, as I just explained, will roll your toughness value in dice. And for any icons you have, that reduces the damage by 1, but it also converts your shock into wounds instead. So, Matt, your character only... I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong character. This orc, for example, he's got a shock of 2, so he can only absorb up to 2 wounds. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you can and try to reduce the damage further.
Sure. Let's see.
Okay. So that counts as 2 because you rolled a exalted icon. And your shock is 0 wounds, 0 shock. Well, your shock is 3, so you can take up to 3 shock before you're out. You just absorbed 2, so you should change. I don't know why it didn't do that, but yeah, there you go. And then he did 11 damage. That drops it to 9. And then go ahead and reduce your
That's 6, so
resilience is 6. So you take 3 damage
okay.
in total. So you just
Level.
add. Yep, you got it. 3 wounds.
3 to wounds.
Okay. Then we are on to the Rebel Grots, who come swarming at the what's his name? This Burner Boy, for killing their poor innocent friend.
Brave Scorcher.
Yeah, they can make it. They can move 5. Okay.
Yeah,
they're
bring it.
gonna stab you
Oh,
with whatever trinkets they have. Combat knife. Oh, get fucked, buddy.
the die in session 0.
Unlikely, but. Huh. Ooh, they succeed and they get a complication. All right, so you are taking 3 damage. Get some.
Okay.
What is your resilience?
8.
Okay, so they don't do any damage
Okay.
because that's more than 3. He got a complication, which is dropped item. Okay, so he stabs you so hard, the knife goes bouncing out of his hand. And then his other friend tries to do something similar.
Cool.
Let's see what kind of combat actions I can do here. Is there anything fun this little grot can attempt? Well, he had to run, so he has no simple action left. Okay. Oh, here we go. He'll do charge. Full round action to run and make a melee test with a +1 bonus on the attack. That is perfect. Okay, Rebel Grot is attacking you. He's got a bonus because he charged. Rolling 5 dice. Watch out.
Oh,
Whoa.
Numbers.
Okay, so we got a whole bunch of shifts
Alright.
and a complication. I doubt he's going to do anything here because they're so pathetic. But we are going. How many of these can I shift? What's your defense?
Oh, sorry. What is that? Resilience?
No, your
Or
defense.
Defense is 3.
Oh, big boy. Okay, I can only shift 2 of those dice. Then I'm going to shift those into damage. Obviously, I mean that's really all bad guys can do. Okay, rolling damage. Oh yeah, 5 damage.
Okay.
So he does
So-
nothing.
So no damage.
Yep. And then he rolls his complication. Out of ammo, that doesn't make any sense. We'll say his knife gets stuck in your armor. Because he hits you so hard.
Yeah.
But it just didn't get all the way through. And he looks up at you with sad puppy dog eyes, realizing he's made a grave mistake.
Oh,
Eric.
no pudding.
Your turn.
Okay. I guess I am gonna try and run across this log.
Okay, give me an athletics test. That looks pretty good. Wow. Okay, so in this case, no, you need 3, so you can't shift anything. But you do make it across, so you're fine.
Okay, so that's 9.
Okay. So you could do a charge as well, unless you want to do a different type of melee attack.
I could charge. What is the charge bonus?
You get +1 die when you attack.
Okay.
And it's doing a run and an attack. Be sure you target him, and then, yeah, do your attack. Give yourself +1 dice. He
Does
is
the
defense.
+1? Does a +1 go in DN bonus or dice
No,
pool bonus?
DN, remember, DN is the target number, so if you add to that, it's
Okay.
going to make the test harder. It goes to your dice pool bonus.
Dice pool bonus. Okay.
And it should automatically have the DN set at 2 because this guy's defense is 2
Yeah.
and you're targeting him. Perfect. Okay. Ooh, another critical failure. But you do succeed and hit him. So go ahead and roll damage, and then roll your complication. Ooh, damn! 12 damage. He's got a resilience of 5. That will leave that at what, 7 damage? 7 is enough to drop this guy in one hit. And so he would be dead. And then I was going to say for the complication, I would just take a point of ruin for myself rather than having you roll.
Okay.
And then your turn would be done. So, Sean, you're here to finish us up on end of the round with Mighty Initiative 1.
Yeah. We're gonna slow and steady wins the race, boys. What would can he jump across this like ridge?
You know what? I don't know. Let's find out. How does jumping work in this game?
Yeah, how are the updated jumping rules?
Well, it's only a paragraph, so we're already way
Much
ahead of
better.
the last edition.
Based
um,
on a calculation.
Yeah. Okay, so it says you can hurdle obstacles up to 1 meter high or leap over gaps up to 1 meter in length as part of your standard movement. Making a long jump or high jump beyond these limits is a simple action and requires an athletics test with a DN determined by the GM based on the current circumstances. Your long jump distance is equal your long jump distance is equal to your strength in meters.
Okay, so I can go 3 meters.
Okay. Well, how far it is?
It's saying 3 meters.
Yeah, I mean, if you're standing on the edge, it's 3 squares to get to the other edge.
So I want to charge in.
Okay. I'll say it's going to be slightly difficult, so we're going to make it DN4 to make this jump.
Ooh, okay. My athletics is 4.
That's what you got wrath points for.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. All right,
I mean-
boys, big money. 4 6s.
The falling damage wasn't that bad. I don't even know what happened to your dice here. I just see a bunch of glowing things.
Yeah, I can't read that at all.
Okay,
That's madness.
you got 3, you need 1 more. Do you want to use a wrath point?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right-click on your thing in chat, and then it'll just have a pop-up thing that
Reroll
says reroll.
Yeah.
Only need... Boom!
critical.
Okay, so in this case,
Oh,
you're able to shift one of those to glory because you've got 4 successes with 3 of your dice, and then
Mhm.
that extra 6. So we're gonna bump up. Do you guys see Wrath and Glory at the bottom of the screen?
Yes.
A little counter.
Yeah.
Are you guys able to add to the glory
Oh.
pool?
No.
Okay, so I have to do it. Let me see. I think there's an option where I can give you guys access to that. Hold
I
on.
have a pop up for Glory and Ruin.
Yeah, but can you guys add or deduct from those tables at all?
No.
Okay, hold on. Let me check.
Oh wait. Because I can shift for glory,
Oh, wait. You actually have to choose what you do the shift as. That's why.
so I can. It just says shift or shift plus glory.
Okay, wait. I see what's happening. That's why we're getting confused. You rolled a 6 on your wrath die, so you have a critical.
Right.
In addition, you can shift that critical. However, you can only do one or the other. You can either score a critical hit or you can shift the dice for something. Oh, wait, there's no critical hit. It's not combat. My bad. So you can shift it, and because you're just doing an action, you're not doing an attack. The only thing you can shift it for is glory. So you should be able to left-click on that 6 to
Yeah.
highlight it, and then right-click and do shift for plus glory. And that should add it to the glory pool.
I was looking at the shifting rules. I think for a critical, you do both, or you can do both.
Can you?
There's a line here that says you can shift a wrath critical like another exalted icon. The effects of the wrath critical, gaining glory and triggering critical hit, trigger even if you shift it,
Oh, okay.
which is intense.
All right.
But I think you can still only gain glory once, or is that?
Well, I would say in this case, I would let you do both because you scored a critical hit and this 6 is also shiftable. So I think it's a pretty rare situation. So in this case, you have 2. But
Nice.
I mean, Sean, you remember glory comes and goes pretty easily in this game. So yeah,
You
you
get
guys
to use it for
usually
cool
have-
things, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so you make it, and then you can go ahead and finish your charge.
Yeah, and
The,
I'm gonna take my Erdy syringe and I'm going to jam it into the throat of this
Rebel
grot.
Okay.
Time for your checkup. Where's
And be
it?
sure you give yourself +1 die for charging.
All right, give me a second. I gotta make sure my gear's selected. It is okay. Yeah,
Oh boy.
fuck your shit up, homie. Oh boy, my super high melee weapon skill. Hey, 2 successes, 2 fails. I mean, I'm gonna
Alright.
use a rat to reroll.
You can use a point of glory to give yourself an extra dice as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I got 3 successes.
All right. Go ahead and roll damage. I think you have to do glory before you do rerolls. I think. We'll double check that.
Okay.
You just go ahead and roll damage. Probably gonna explode. Yeah. It'd be nice if we could click on these traits and see what they do.
I can tell you because I can click on them in my weapon.
Oh, is that how it works?
So let's see. Erdy syringe. Oh, hold on. Poison. These weapons are designed to harm the target in cruel and unusual ways. Every inflict weapon has a condition that it imposes on the target. If it inflicts fire, it causes a target to catch fire on a wound. If an inflict weapon has a number, that number determines the number of any tests made to remove that condition. For example, if a weapon with inflict (poisoned 4) wounds a target, they are poisoned, and the target will need to make a DN4 toughness test to recover.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it is a poison 4, so the grot, if he somehow survives, is now crippled with debilitating painful poison.
Okay.
Wog. Let's see.
How are you accessing these again?
So I go to the combat tab,
Uh-huh.
and because they're equipped, then it says traits at the bottom, and I can just click the trait. It's traits right underneath the weapon name.
Oh, I see. There we go. Okay.
Wag. Orc weapons defy understanding. They break laws of mechanics and physics, but a greenskin's belief make them all the more deadly. If you're an orc, you gain +1 bonus die to attacks with a wog weapon. Oh, I don't know if added that. If you are also wounded, you deal an extra +1 extra dice. And
Alright.
careful is just I can't use it multi-attacks. Rip.
Okay. Well, you stab this guy so hard through the throat that the needle comes out the other side, severing his spinal cord and ending his poor rebellious life. Yeah. So that's a round of combat. I don't think there's any need to go on with this, because I think that gives us an idea of how this crazy shit works. But needless to say, the Grot Rebellion is put down, and you have acquired the glowy rock. Well done.
I'd have to respec into melee. Seems like the Peppa MD should be up close and personal.
Well, get yourself a custom Mega Blaster like this fucking lunatic over here. You'll be just fine.
Yeah, seeing him melt an orc.
All right. Well, that's the basics. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get the hang of the system and learn the intricacies, but that wasn't too bad for our first attempt. So, and apparently falling damage is not nearly as bad as it is in fantasy. So,
Yeah.
Nowhere near as bad.
yeah. So,
And
Cool.
the jumping rules are much more in line now.
oh yeah, yeah. You can jump. What was it? 12 feet instead of like 72 feet. So yeah, it makes a lot more
It's like
sense.
you can jump 5 times your strength in meters. What?
Yeah, it was so dumb. Yeah, the dude's vertical was like 60 feet or something silly. It was so
He was
dumb.
just space jamming people.
All right. Any other questions about anything we went over tonight, fellas?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good.
All right. Well, a little longer than I was hoping, but that's okay, listeners. If you've enjoyed it tonight, that's great. If not, then we will see you on episode 1, which you can go listen to right now. So you should go do that. Thanks again for stopping by. It's been us, Dragon's Greed, and we will catch you all on the flip side. Nighty night.